Hey guys, what's up? I just wanted to get on here and tell my story. I was looking through my videos and I was like, oh man, I'm sitting up here talking about all this so crevice and I don't even have a story up of anything of how I got or found out that I had multiple sclerosis. Um, I guess I started, well, um, I was having a few symptoms before I was diagnosed or even realized that something was wrong with me. I used to work a 12-hour job, and I was the only person that worked in my area. I was a baler for a well known company. And I noticed that every time I bent over, it was hard for me to hold um, my balance or my weight up. When I walked like a few steps, I would get so tired, and it wasn't anything strenuous that I was doing. I was just getting tired. So I was like, "Oh man, I need to exercise." That's what I thought. I figured I just needed to exercise. So I started exercising, and a trip was coming up, our church trip, and the church trip was it was right at the beginning of April 2018, and we went on a trip, and I woke up one morning and my eyes were extremely blurry. My right eye was like almost like I couldn't even really see out of it, and I felt nauseous, and like the amount of like tiredness that I felt was so extreme, and I had just woke up, and I was like, whoa. So I went about my day, and for the church trip, we were there that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and people would come up to me and talk to me, and I would be squinting, trying to see their face of who they were, and I was really just like going with the flow. I would say going with the flow. And when we got back home, I started walking funny, and my left leg was dragging. So I told my mom, I was like, man, I was like, I feel horrible. And then she started paying attention after I said that, because I'm not a sickly person. I don't usually get sick at all. So I guess after my parents live in Florida, and after we got back from our trip, everybody was at my house in South Carolina, and um, she was paying attention to me, and she was watching me and stuff, and she was like, "You need to go to we're finna take you to the hospital. You need to go to the hospital. Something's not right." I was like, "I don't want to go to no hospital. I'm not a hospital person because I'm not sickly." And she was like, "Well, we're finna take you to the hospital," and I was like, "Oh well." I was real resistant at first. Finally, probably like a day later, I let them take me to the hospital. And you know what? I skipped a part. Um, before I had went on the trip, 2 weeks before I went on the trip, I was in the shower and I passed out. Now, that was quite alarming. I did go to the hospital for that. And the doctor said there was nothing wrong with me. I just needed to drink some more water. They didn't run any like tests on me. They just had me take a urine test, and that's all they did. So I took my urine test, and they said I was dehydrated, and that's probably why I passed out in the shower. So let's go back to where I was at. My parents took me to the hospital, and I told them I was just at the hospital probably about 2.5 weeks prior before this visit, and they were like, "Really?" So they pulled up my records, and they were examining me. So then they started running all these tests and stuff, And they put me in the MRI machine, and I had all these EKG and stuff. And they was like, well, we're not the people who diagnose you, but what we're seeing right now is it looks like you have lesions on your brain and on your spine. So before they sent me, they gave me a lumbar puncture. And if you ever had one of those things, you know, man, I was down for about 5 days after that lumbar puncture. Um, they numb you and they take fluid out of your spine. And I had an extreme headache. I was extremely nauseous. I couldn't hold anything down. And probably like 3 weeks after that, I went to my now neurologist, and he ran tests on me for himself, and he diagnosed me with multiple sclerosis. At first, he thought I might have something other than multiple sclerosis because both of my eyes were blurry and not just one. And we ran some more tests, and he found out it wasn't anything else. I had optic neuritis, and he started, like, every time I looked down, I would get this shooting electrical feeling down my back of my neck and my spine, and I was like, I couldn't do anything. So after I was diagnosed, it took a while for me to accept the fact that something was wrong with me, because growing up, I never had any problems. I never got chicken pox. My mom told me that when I was a baby that I had got measles, but other than that, nothing has been wrong. So I that summer, that June, I had went to my parents' house for the summer. I go to my parents. Me and my two children go to my parents' house every summer in Florida. That's where I'm at right now. And we were out having our own church service in the park, and it was hot that day. It was really hot, and my brother and his wife had came in from Louisiana to visit us, so we could see our nieces. And it was time to go by the time they got there, and I stood up because he had called me to see where exactly we were in the park. I answered the phone, and as soon as I stood up, to walk away so I wouldn't interrupt anything, I got like, it was like super, super dizzy. I forget what they call it, but everything was spinning. It was horrible. So I sat back down and I laid my head down, and then my mom and dad came over and they prayed for me. They didn't know what else to do. So my mom was like, well, let's get her in the air conditioner in the car. So I stood up, and my brother and my dad started walking me over to the car. And the whole time I was walking, my leg was just dragging. I was like, oh, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it to this car. And then I blinked, and when I opened my eyes from the blink, I was being carried. I had passed out, and I didn't even know it. And my dad and my brother were carrying me, putting me inside of my parents' SUV. So I was like, oh my goodness, I passed out. And I told, just extreme guilt. I'm so sorry you guys had to carry me and all that stuff. They was like, no, just sit down, relax. And I was drinking water, and we didn't know what else to do. We figured it was a part of the MS. Well, I knew I had a problem with heat and I shouldn't be in the heat, but I didn't know it was going to do anything like that or be that extreme. So by the time I got home, my dad had broke his a toe a couple years before, and he had a cane, so I had to walk with the cane. And um, I had a relapse, so everything got worse after that incident had occurred. And I don't know. I don't know. I got better probably like a few months later. After that, because I changed my diet, I lost like about 30 pounds, and I feel better now. I still can't be in the heat, and um, I attribute my progress to the crevice, of course, and God. I wouldn't be able to tell the story if it wasn't for Him. And it's just I still walk with a cane every now and then, but most of the time I don't. Like when I'm walking around the house, I don't use a cane at all. Sometimes I hold on to the wall, but most of the time I don't, because I feel better. And I used to be real vibrant and fun and outgoing. I mean, I could still do that to this day. It's just I'm so tired all the time, and I used to get my hair done, lashes, eyebrows, makeup, everything. And I might show you guys one day. But right now, it's not in me. And I try to do some things, because I'm married and my husband doesn't want to see me looking like a homeless woman all the time. So I do dress up from time to time. And every time when I go to church, I look very nice. But other than that, it has been, like people say, it's been a marathon and not a race. And um, I know they say that there's no cure for MS, but I'm going to be healed. I already know I'm going to be healed. I have no question about that. But I'm going to take you guys on this journey with me. And I'm going to show you what I did and talk to you about what I'm doing. Because this whole vegan thing or fruitarian thing it's not easy like some YouTubers make it out to look like. It's not easy for me anyways. So I'm not nobody special. I just want to tell my story and have something to look back on for myself really, and it'd be like, oh, look where God brought me from. Something extraordinary like that. I want to tell my testimony, and you guys are here to witness my testimony. So I appreciate everybody, viewing and liking everything, and it's all about growth. It really is, mentally, physically, and spiritually. This is a journey for me, and I know I'm not alone. I have my family and my few friends I do have, because I'm not like I'm friendly, but I'm not like I don't know. I don't go around like, hey, let's be friends, stuff like that. Um, but I just want to get on here and tell my story, because my short term memory is pretty bad, and while I was thinking of it, I was like, I should tell my story, because I don't want to forget where I came from or what I was brought out of, because somebody might need my testimony. You never know who's looking at your journey and how it inspires them. So I'm going to go through this journey and I'm going to make it out. So I thank you guys for watching. Bye.